Hi, I'm Erica James with the Erica James Travel, and welcome to another Facebook Live event by Erica James Travel. If you're just joining us, then today we are talking about travel insurance and the many benefits of travel insurance. Now, first, I want to start by saying that I am not a travel insurance agent. I am a travel agent who offers you travel insurance and the benefits of it. So, with that said, I'm just letting you know up front that putting that disclaimer in there. Today, we want to talk about travel protection, better known as travel insurance to many people. It's extremely important to include with your vacation packages when you travel. However, I completely understand no one wants to purchase travel insurance. You don't know how many times I hear from my clients who say, oh, I don't need travel insurance. I know for a fact that I'm going. I'm definitely going. I'm not going to cancel, so I don't need travel insurance. No one wants to cancel their trip. No one expects to meet delays, miss their flight, or have a true medical or political emergency. Should I remind you of the devastating hurricanes that came through the Caribbean last year and just destroyed so many places? I am sure that all of those people, too, were pretty 100% sure that they were going on their trip and didn't think they needed travel insurance. But you do. My clients nor I want to think about getting travel insurance. We only want to focus on the fun things about a trip. We really don't want to focus on the what ifs. And I get it. I understand. We only want to focus on the fun parts. But you have to think ahead. And that is why we are here today, to ensure that you don't have poor awareness, but to ensure that you are well informed about travel protection and the benefits that it offers you as a traveler. Insurance doesn't have to be confusing, so let's walk through a few things about insurance. The most important tip and thing I want to tell you is that timing is everything. If your travel agent isn't offering you travel protection up front, doesn't mention it when you are going through the booking process, the first question you need to ask your travel agent is, how much time do I have to purchase travel insurance to ensure that I receive the most benefits? Now, I say this because most insurance companies give you 7 to 14 days, some 21, from the time that you pay your deposit to purchase travel insurance. Because if you don't purchase it during that time, then you miss out the benefit of cancel for any reason. Now, most people think that if you get travel insurance, that you can just cancel your trip and everything's okay. That's not the case. If you didn't buy it within the time frame that you put down your deposit, you can't cancel for any reason. At that point, you need to cancel for a covered reason. Now, you're going to hear me say that a lot throughout this Facebook Live session is covered reason, because it's a big difference. You can't just say, hey, I don't want to go anymore. I want my money back. Well, what is your reason? The insurance companies want to know that. Also, if you don't pay for insurance within the time frame of your deposit, you don't get coverage for pre-existing conditions. So those are things. Now, the quote that a lot of people you may hear say is, it's too late to buy flood insurance once the flood waters are rising, rings true. Even with travel insurance, you can be covered for your trip if you buy travel insurance after you find out you might that something might prevent you from going on the trip. Like the hurricanes last year, if you were leaving 2 weeks before and you saw that this big hurricane was coming, and at that point you decided you wanted to buy travel insurance so you can cancel, you're not going to be covered because that was already announced to the world. So buy your travel insurance on the front end. Like I said, timing is everything. So we talk about trip cancellation. So if you needed to cancel your trip, then it needed to be a covered reason, as I stated, if you did not get the travel insurance up front. So that's one of the benefits of travel insurance. Then you have also trip delay. Now, say for instance that you were traveling on your trip and you had to change planes at the airport. There was this big storm that came and you were stuck in the airport and could not make your next flight, then trip delay insurance comes in hand. Now, when it comes to trip delay, now some insurance will tell you that they will cover things after a certain amount of hours that you were delayed, maybe like 5 hours or 6 hours after you have been delayed. And then they will cover any of the necessary things that you need, that you needed while you were waiting on your flight or to get to that next destination. Because you may be in the airport, not have your luggage or anything, and there are things you need, and they will reimburse you. But you don't want to get crazy on the things that you want to buy in the airport. So don't go through the airport buying headphones and all kind of crazy stuff and expect to get reimbursed, because you have to look for the wording in the reimbursement when it says essential items. And these are items that are that you need after like 5 or 6 hours, then your insurance kicks in. I'll stop and go back a little bit at that point because we have a question about pre-existing conditions. If you want to know about pre-existing conditions, first of all, if you want that covered for your insurance, you need to make sure you buy insurance on the front end. That's as soon as you put your deposit down on your trip. Because if you decide to purchase insurance 2-3 months later, then the insurance company is not going to cover you for pre-existing conditions. And a pre-existing condition is something that you've been treated for, but you cannot help. For an example, if you're a diabetic and you take insulin and your insulin rises and things like that, but you never know when it's going to rise and you can't control that, but you've been seeking medical attention for so long, and then you get on a trip and you get sick and things happen, then your insurance is going to cover that. But for instance, if you have let's say high cholesterol and you have been treated and you've had no issues about high cholesterol for months before your trip, and then you decide to go on a trip and then something acts up, then that they consider that not a pre-existing condition. So if you have like detailed questions on that, always pick up the phone, call your insurance company that you have your travel protection with, and they can walk you through what is covered and what is not covered. Because I will let you know, some travel agents may not know the fine print and the details within that, because we're not insurance agents, we're travel agents. So keep that in mind. If you have very specific questions when it comes to the details of pre-existing conditions, then you definitely want to pick up the phone and call that insurance company, and they can let you know if you're going to be covered or not. So don't be afraid to ask those questions up front. Baggage, that's another thing. Baggage delays, lost baggage. A lot of people don't know. They think travel insurance is just for canceling, but it's not. It's also for other things, like if you lose your baggage. If you lose your luggage while you're going on a trip, then the travel insurance is going to kick in, and they're going to reimburse you for the things you need until your luggage is found. And these are your essential things, like if you need to buy a toothbrush and toothpaste and things like some clothes and stuff like that, then they're going to reimburse you for those essential things that you need until they can find your luggage. Now, the airport is responsible for finding your luggage, but I can tell you this, and my insurance business development manager has told me that the airlines, they don't want to hear from the travel insurance companies. So if you lose your luggage, you call your travel insurance company and say, hey, I lost my luggage, they can't find it, and I guarantee you they will get on the phone with that airline company and track that luggage down. Airlines do not want to hear from travel insurance people, and they will speed up and go a little faster to find your luggage. That also goes with luggage delays, any damage to your luggage. Now, the airlines are responsible for compensation to you up to a certain point. So when it comes to baggage and things like that, your insurance company is going to kick into what you can't get out of that airline and help you out in that kind of way. Also, one of the things that insurance also goes over is medical coverage. a lot of American travelers are often under the mistaken impression that they will be covered for medical issues abroad like they are at home. Now, a lot of people think their medical insurance that they have in your state will cover you if you are in Mexico or Europe or something like that. And so they think, I don't need that. I don't need medical. I have medical insurance. But you need to always check with your medical company to see how far your coverage goes. Because in most foreign countries, the U.S. medical insurance does not cover you over there. Therefore, one of my travel tips for you is to know your medical insurance plan and coverage before you travel. If your insurance does not cover you outside of the state or country, then you might want to purchase travel insurance. Don't just assume that you are covered. You need to know if you are covered. Injuries happen when you're on vacation all the time. I know a client that was on her honeymoon. She and her husband, they were riding ATVs. She crashed into a tree. Her leg was stuck under the ATV in between the tree. She needed medical attention in Mexico. If you don't have coverage outside of the country, you could be faced with high medical costs and paying upfront or out of pocket. Some travel policies can guarantee that payment, so you are able to receive the medical treatment that you need and not get turned away because you can't pay out of pocket your hard-earned dollars or the money that you brought on your trip. So I know you don't want to think about getting hurt on a trip like, hey, I'm not going to be active on a trip. I don't need insurance. I don't need medical coverage. What if you get up from out of the pool and you're walking to your chair and you slip and fall and break your leg and you need medical attention? You don't have to not be active on your trip. Anything could happen to you on your trip that will cause you to need medical coverage and medical attention while you're on your trip. You know, my point is that you don't know what's going to happen. So would you rather be covered with those costs and not have to come out of pocket if something happens? You have to ask yourself, how much are you willing to pay for medical services outside the country if something happens? If you're not willing to pay a whole lot, then you probably want to get travel protection before you travel. Now, what about emergency and medical evacuations? What if you got hurt and you needed to be evacuated out of that country? Maybe you need to be airlifted somewhere. Those things cost. If you have travel insurance, they will take care of your medical evacuation. They will pay for those things. They will pay for you to get to the nearest hospital, or if you needed to fly to another country or seas to get that medical attention, then your travel insurance will cover that, you know, if you have that. If you don't have it, heaven forbid, I don't know what could happen. I don't want to even think of it. What would happen to a person who did not have travel insurance and something horrific happened to them while they were on their trip? Another thing that it covers, and we don't want to talk about this. I really hope it never happens to anybody. But however, what if someone in your group or you passed away while you're traveling and on your trip? Then your travel insurance will pay to have your body or the remains of the person who passed away back home, wherever it's coming from. So that's another expense that you do not have to worry about. I'll just recap real quick. We talked about timing is everything. You need to find out from your travel agent up front, how much time do I need to purchase travel insurance from the time I paid my deposit to be covered for everything. One thing I want to mention also is about trip interruption. This is something that travel insurance also covers. Say you're on your trip and you're having a good time. It's, 3 days into your 7-day trip and you get a call and you have to go back home. Say there's a emergency with your family, your house or your business is broken into and you have to travel back home. If you don't have travel insurance, then you have to pay for all those costs to get yourself back home. And then the rest of your trip, those 4 or 5 days that you have left, they're just gone. But if you have travel insurance, they will help you get back. They will pay for you a flight out to get you back home. They will also pay for the unused portion of your trip. whatever you didn't get to use, they will pay for that as well for your trip. But I would have to tell you again, and I said at the beginning, you're going to hear me say covered reasons. So it has to be a covered reason on why you need to interrupt your trip and fly back home. If you get a call from one of your homegirls or homeboys and your boo is cheating on you and hanging out with another girl or a guy while you're on vacation, you're like, oh my God, I got to stop my trip right now and get back home and see what's going on. That's not covered. So be reasonable and be smart, and don't try to pull the wool over the insurance company, because they are insurance companies and they don't want to pay. So they want everything documented. So make sure you back yourself up and you document everything, and make sure there are covered reasons and there are reasonable covered reasons, and you know what those are. We talked about, for those that just joined us, we talk about lost luggage, torn luggage, your luggage was destroyed, things you needed while your luggage was lost, and if you had to buy toothbrush, toothpaste, things like that, you're going to be reimbursed. Say you had a misconnection, then the travel insurance is going to cover that. But I will also tell you, when it comes to misconnections, if you allowed yourself only 30 minutes in between flights and you missed your connection, I don't think that's going to be covered. It has to be reasonable. You would have to have given yourself another time. Since, for example, when I had to change planes in Miami from an international flight, I allow myself at least 3 hours in between flights, because customs is a nightmare. And trust me, I allowed over 3 hours one time to get through customs in Miami. I still missed my flight. There were no more flights going out that night, and I ended up having to get a hotel room, and then American Airlines booked me on the next flight on the next day. However, they gave me a travel voucher for a discount for my hotel room, but I had to pay for my hotel room, and that was an expense that I did not prepare for, nor did I prepare to, miss my connection when I had 3 hours to spare. So I had to get a hotel, transportation to the hotel. I also had to pay for meals, but luckily I had my travel protection, and so I just submitted those receipts and those were reimbursed because I did prepare for enough time in between. So you want to make sure when it comes to misconnections that you did prepare and you really missed it for a very good reason. So as I mentioned earlier about documenting everything, don't take that personal. Documentation is never personal. If the insurance company asks you to document it, keep everything. It's an insurance company. It's just like if you have a car insurance and you have a wreck. If you have a wreck, the car insurance company, they're going to want the police report, the details. They want to make sure that you're not at fault, there's nothing fishy going on before they pay. The same thing with travel insurance. Travel protection is just like any other type of insurance. You have to document everything. So don't expect anything less from the travel insurance. The circumstances leading to you filing the claim to get your money back must be verified by another source other than yourself. So don't take it personal when you're asked for documentation. When all the facts check out, the process is quick and painless of getting your money back and your reimbursements. It is when you don't have any backup, or the backup that doesn't match what you're actually saying, you'll see a few complications. So don't be offended if you're asked for proof of your claim. Travel protection is there to assist you and to help you and to benefit you. So always keep your receipts, keep every documentation. This is another tip for you. I always travel with a receipt envelope and my travel packet. Although I fix travel packets for all of my clients, I fix one for myself too. I never travel without my documentation, and I always keep an envelope with that so I can just tuck my receipts in there of everything I use, because if anything goes wrong and you need the insurance company to reimburse you, you need that documentation. So keep up with everything that you have. One other good thing that I wanted to tell you about travel insurance that comes with you getting it is 24-hour travel assistance. A lot of people don't know that. This coverage consists of non-insurance services. It can offer services for things like local dining information and reservations. if you are in Jamaica and you're like, hey, I want to eat off the resort, where's a good place to go? If you can't, really get in touch with your travel agent or have that information, you can pick up the phone and call your travel insurance company and their concierge line. They're going to give you that information. They're going to give you dining information, tell you where to go, what's the best places to eat. If you need them to make reservations for you, they will. They do local flower and gift delivery. They'll give you the local news, the weather, great shopping, visitor information. They will also help you with sightseeing tours, guide information, and reservation. Hotel, airline, car, rail information, reservations, golf, spa, theater information. I'm telling you, anything and everything you need while you're in destination, or any travel tips or places to go, your travel insurance will help you with that. They all have a concierge line. So use it. I mean, it's not, as I said before at the beginning, I want everyone to know, if you don't learn anything on this this session, learn that travel insurance is not just for canceling. It's not just for canceling. It offers you so much more. Use it, get it, and benefit, because you don't know what will happen. Now, I'm going to leave you with some final thoughts. At the end of the day, protecting your dream vacation is strictly up to you. I'm just here to provide you the information needed to manage the risks that can be associated with travel. I want to empower you with knowledge so that you can be a smart traveler. As I said before, I'm a travel agent. I'm not an insurance expert. I'm giving you the benefits and the surface of things, but if you need detailed information on what are truly covered reasons, then you want to contact that travel insurance company and ask them for details, especially when it comes to the cancel for any reason aspect and the pre-existing conditions. If you have a question about it, ask up front, because you need that knowledge. Most important question you need to ask yourself to get the best travel insurance coverage is, what do I want to pay if something goes wrong? Oftentimes your answer will be nothing, and coverage that includes everything will be your best option. And I will leave you with that. We have Sharisha Williams. Thank you. This is such a great tip. Travel folder with all your confirmation numbers is in it, and insurance info. Yes, I will have to say Sharisa has traveled with me a lot, and I have drilled in her the travel packet, and she does carry it with her. She makes me so proud. I love when my clients take their travel documents with them, because I fill it with so much information, and you need it. You have to be a smart traveler. You need those answers. I just want to thank you all for tuning in. I hope you learned something that you didn't already know about travel protection and its benefits. Mostly important, I hope you learned that it's worth the investment to your travel with protection. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next week.